And it's been some great time with all those great finalists and innovators with the Cosmos Innovation Center Agritech Challenge. And this has brought some great ideations to make sure that, well, those who have the ability to be able to use artificial intelligence to help agriculture in its value chain are able to do so, making their dreams realizable through the efforts and the funding of Cosmos. Now, Mamavi Oswabaji is ready with that great interaction with Constance Swanica. Mamavi, some great time there, and you're already seeing some good insight into some of the great things they're doing. What's the conversation going to be like?
Center, we call it, but we've been talking about the Agritech Challenge all morning. Well, here we are today. What would happen right where I am would be the outdooring, the launch of their new Innovation Center. Joining me for a conversation on startups is Madam Constance Swanica. She's one of the judges. You've been a judge on the Agritech Challenge for about a year now, but you're also founder of the Design Technology Institute. So first of all, let's talk about your experience part of this challenge in terms of new businesses. What has been the biggest challenge, if you like? What's been the biggest issues that you've discovered from new companies?
I think for someone who's been in business for close to 20 years, they seem to have a lot of grandiose ideas of what they think the customer wants. But then they quickly find out that from feedback from clients and from the judges on the panel, that you've come up with a new idea. But really, it's the feedback that you get from the judges, and then when you're testing out whether the product works, is what will really give you that wake-up call that it's, you know, it's one thing having a great idea, but it's one thing testing out the product to see whether the customer actually wants it. And so the feedback that we give them allows them to go back and tweak the ideas and then really come up with a product that truly suits the market.
What this challenge does is to find an innovative solution to an already existing problem. I'm just thinking beyond this challenge outside, because this is to a specific sector, which is the agri sector. Beyond this, how do people discover what challenges there are and the solutions?
So that's a good question. So I think pretty much the KIC ideation program is really looking at the agri sector. Really, there are quite a number of challenges that farmers are presented with. So this gives the companies the opportunity to go out and really look at some of these issues that face them. So I'll say that the problems are there, the challenges are there, but it's interesting, as they get even more feedback from some of these farmers, it opens up a Pandora's box of actually how dire the agri sector is and the need to move from subsistence farming as farmers know it into moving into, greater yields and higher yields. So there's a need for mechanization, a bit of moving into industrial farming. And so this is what the companies present to some of these farmers in the agri sector. Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm watching the show right now. I haven't been part of this challenge, but I'm thinking I can do something on my own. How do I discover? I know that this may be a very difficult one. How do I discover where to go, where to look at?
So in the person of the client or the farmer.
Oh, so this is in the person of, I want to innovate something.
Okay, so you want to be part of the challenge.
Exactly, but I am not fortunate to be part of the challenge, so I can't have people like you to monitor and give me the feedback. Okay. How do I go about it on my own?
Okay, so I think first of all, when the call is open out, there are quite a number of applicants that apply to join. You must have an idea first. You must have interest in the agri sector. You must have the interest of finding solutions. So pretty much they've done their homework before they enter. And then after going through layers of screening, the best ideas sail through. So pretty much the interest is there for you to want to be a part of the challenge in the first place. Yeah.
Let's talk about your area where you're coming from, because yours is not agric. How has the experience, because I understand that some of the companies that come here also end up at your institute. What's the difference? Because yours is a bit technical. Is it the same?
Yes, so basically my experience in industry brings to bear the help that we give them at the Design and Technology Institute, because coming up with a concept is all the initial design stage. So what we do is help them through the design stage, coming up with ideas and then bringing it to life. So you find that for a few of the companies that we worked with, they come up with all these ideas, and what we're quick to tell them that if the farmer hasn't moved from using, a hoe as we know it, and he wants to increase his yields, he's looking for equipment, machines. So that's where the technical bit comes in, helping them work with mechanical engineers that we work with, and then the architects and designers, and basically everybody that fits into the build stage, the prototyping and everything, is where we come in. So this year we had quite a number of companies that were moving from, coming up with software and all the fancy things that I think for a young person. And what we're telling them that if a farmer hasn't moved to that stage, move them to the stage where, at least they can increase their yield, then you use technology as the enabler. So we had quite a number of companies that were moving into equipment.
Okay.
So for instance, iScarecrow that we worked with, we're looking at designing a mechanical scarecrow for cereal farmers up north. And so for the first time, there was actually something that worked. And then there was another company that was looking at helping cocoa farmers crush beans along value chain, so using conveyor belts and stuff. So we're beginning to see more interesting things, that really tangible products that would take workload off farmers, would increase yields and more exciting things like that.
Okay.
Then we add in the technology, like I said.
Okay.
Then you also had a few companies that were looking purely at how technology increases or would help the farmer move from this stage to that stage. Yeah.
Okay.
So quite an interesting mix of businesses that we...
But are these innovations that the farmers you made reference to up north, will they actually use it?
So that's why I said that this year we had a lot more machines that were designed. And so we're hoping that as they begin to see that the more tangible things that the farmer would need to move from this stage to that stage. And so that's pretty much the fit that we give to them.
What do you need, and not necessarily with this challenge, what do you need as an individual if you want to start something on your own? You started quite early, and then you're here. You've gone through a lot. Yours is art. You're an artist, and I remember reading that when you started, you had to go through a lot of hurdles. I'm not sure it's all smooth even now, but if somebody's starting beginning young, what would you say to them?
I always say that you must have the tenacity and the zeal to succeed, and the passion, because that is what will keep you going. So if you say I'm an artist, I would say first I'm a creator.
Okay.
So then being a creator, a designer allows you the opportunity or the room to fit anywhere. So you bring your experience to bear in any industry. So therefore, you must also think outside the box. And I think sometimes for a lot of young people, we're so confined within what we think the world offers. But allow yourself the opportunity to learn, be very flexible. Once you're flexible, you're quick to adapt to market changes. Because I remember when I started business 20 years ago, I graduated with a degree in art. What I'm doing is totally off track what I studied. And so allowing yourself that flexibility and the openness to absorb what the world offers really would lead you to greater opportunities. And to look at what I'm doing now, working on the Cosmos ideation team, who would think, right?
Yeah. Do you necessarily need money today to start?
No.
That's what they've always
I
said.
always say that,
But
they always ask you, so how did you start your business? And I'm like, I'm so fed up of hearing that. Who do you think would invest in you if there's nothing to even show? But once you come up with a product, start on your tabletop, start in your bedroom. That's how we all started our businesses, in our backyards. I don't see how anybody would finance your business if they haven't even seen it. They would only finance your business after 2-3 years. And even that, start off with family and friends as the people who would believe in you because they see that passion. So if you're looking at raising capital in this era, high interest rates, that's almost like a no-no. But just come up with the idea, and start selling, start plowing back, grow organically, then all those things would come in. Then you'd have an investor who sees that great idea, you've tested it, it works. So say maybe after 5 years, you'll be lucky if you get that big breakthrough.
I remember reading that for you, even getting the materials was a problem. So if that's somebody's challenge, how do they resolve it?
I think that the nice thing right now is when you look all around you, there's all sort of things that you can work with. That's if you're a designer or a creator, look within the environment in which you're working with and use what materials are available. Because remember, you're a startup. So you're not looking at bringing imported bits and things in. Start with what is available first. So that's very critical.
And if you fail?
You keep trying. There's nothing in the life of an entrepreneur that says that when I fall once, you keep trying, you get up. The number of times you get up allows you to learn from your mistakes and perfect it, and you move on. Otherwise, then don't enter into it in the first place at all.
Just the final one before we wrap up. This app that is opening today, you've practically been virtual with the kind of things that you do with these companies. What difference would it make, do you think, with the structure?
I think the nice thing is like a one-stop shop, because we've been having events pretty much all over Accra in places that they had to rent out or use. So this is really nice that we can have like a one-stop shop where everything happens in-house.
Okay.
And I think for the companies as well, moving them from all over the country, at least this is something that they can proudly claim as their own space as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Where's the institute located?
It's in East Legon.
Okay. Is there, what period are we in? Can people check out if they want to enter?
Yeah, so school just started. We opened about 3 weeks ago. So we've started with the inaugural class. So we would open for the next class September 2020.
Okay.
So unfortunately this year we're quite full.
Okay. All right. So somebody can try next year. Thank you so much for talking to us. Still to come, well, we'll be talking to some of the new startups, some of the companies, some of the people who have won this challenge in the past as well. We want to explore and give you an idea, you who is watching right now, you an idea what you could do with yourself, especially if you've just graduated from school. Stay with us. This is still the AM Show.